Hi, everybody. How are you? Well, I thought that I would start branching into makeup videos purely as reviews. Trust me, I'm not doing any tutorials. I don't want to scare anybody away. But the thing is, I really love makeup, and why not share my thoughts on certain products? I've got a ton of eyeshadow palettes and a ton that I never use because I'm more of a neutral gal than anything else. But I recently purchased a small palette from the Pat McGrath Labs, and I am so glad that I did. But let me explain myself a little bit before I get into the actual review of the palette. Pat McGrath is this really incredible makeup artist. Like, she's unbelievable. She makes the most beautiful ethereal looks ever. And she works with, I think, every celebrity out there, with the exception of me, of course. But her looks are just so nice. They're just so, they're beautiful. And I've seen a lot of her palettes in reviews, and I've seen some of her shadows in person at Sephora. And the one word that comes to mind is her shadows are just pretty. And I know I sound like Martha Stewart in saying the word pretty, but they are. They're pretty. They're just angelic. They're really, really gorgeous looks. And her shadows are just really nice. But I draw the line at price point. I will not spend $100 on a palette. I will not spend $125 on a palette. I will not spend $150 on a palette. I just won't. It goes against my grain. I don't care how great they are. I'm not spending the money. Um, I've spent as much as $50 on palettes and then felt like a moron because I only used like two or three colors from the palette. I have palettes that I really love, like Mally's Nude Attitude is quite possibly my favorite palette of all time. She discontinued it. Thank God I have a backup. But overall, I'm a neutral person. So when I was just like fooling around watching YouTube reviews, I saw quite a few reviews on this Ecstacy palette. And I have to say, some of the reviews were a riot. And I don't mean that in like, oh, you have to watch this review. I mean, some of them were ridiculous. Where do I begin on this one? I watched reviews where young, like beauty gurus, young makeup reviewers were complaining about this because they had spent so much money on the individual eyeshadows like this, or they had spent so much money on the mothership eyeshadow palettes, which are well over $100. And they were annoyed at Pat McGrath for curating two small plastic palettes that she is now selling for $28 a piece. They are called Ecstacy, and this is the Sublime Ecstacy palette. Reviewers were complaining about the plastic because they were disappointed in the packaging and it looked like a school pencil case. Well, guess what? I like to travel. I am not the most delicate person on the face of the earth, and this plastic cover suffices just fine because it's what's in here that counts, not this. And it snaps, it's strong, it's indestructible. So I know that when I'm out and about and traveling, and if this is in my travel case, nothing is going to get ruined. So I have to say, thank you, Pat McGrath. But the other thing is, thank you, Pat McGrath, for making your shadows accessible to women who A, cannot afford to spend over $100 on an eyeshadow palette, or B, who just refuse to spend that much money. I'm sorry, I'm being honest here. When you get to my age, even though you can love makeup till the cows come home, a lot of women are on fixed incomes. A lot of women are on limited budgets. Take it as it is. This is very affordable for the average woman who wants to try Pat McGrath, but either cannot afford her regular eyeshadow palettes or refuse to. Okay? That's what I'm coming at. Now, um, I did use her shadows today, and for a neutral lover, these are great. Hold on, I'm going to I don't want to say this is the look, but in as much as the fact that I love neutrals, these shadows work, and they work for the neutral lover. They work for the woman who is mature and who isn't in her 20s or 30s. I have stated before, and I always go by this rule. I think a little bit of shimmer on the mature eye looks so much better than a matte shadow. Um, the shimmers and the satins kind of give you a luminosity that you don't get with a matte shadow. I think matte shadows have a tendency to look a little bit more aging. All you have to do is go in with a light touch and blend, 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 and the look is fine. These shadows are like stinking butter. Now, I have swatched them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last one is very, very light and can be used as a highlighter. Let me take my bracelet off so you can get a better look. Yeah, there we go. So here we go. I did swatch them. Remember that the lighting in my house pretty much sucks. But look at that. These are neutrals, and these are very neutral friendly. They're cool toned friendly. If you have like cool toned coloring, these are great. Even if you have a warm tone coloring, these are still great too. Hold on, I'm gonna go through the colors on here, okay? So this, this is Sinful. This is Gold Nectar, which is like freaking, this is soft as a baby's bottom. This one, number 3, is Sextrovert. Number 4 is Illicit. And number 5 is Corruption. Now, this corruption kind of takes on a different form. It's kind of like a holograph type thing. It looks gold, it looks burgundy, but on the eyes, it looks really, really pretty. And even though it's Sunday, and even though I'm not going anywhere except sitting at my desk and writing blog posts and uploading videos, I still feel great in these shadows because it's not over the top. I can go to Wegmans later and buy some bottled water and bread, and I'm not going to feel overly done. And that's what I think is great about these eyeshadows. You can go in with a very, very, very light touch and have a great look. Or if you're really, really good at makeup, which I'm not, you can go in and give yourself a va 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 voom look. It's all good. So I have to say, I think Pat McGrath did a great service to women who can't spend a lot of money on an eyeshadow palette. The shadows are so really, they're just really shimmery, glimmery, beautiful. As I said before, they're very neutral. trust me, I am not a very colorful person when it comes to my makeup. As you can see, I really stick to the same thing. Even though I have like a million of the same thing, I still stick to what I feel more comfortable in. And these shadows are definitely like, these are definitely going to be a big part of my rotation. There is the phone. I think it's my daughter. So I will see you later. Take care.